I'm going to talk to you about Freemasonry. I got interested in this subject a few years back. I dated someone who was a Freemason. I didn't really understand, what their organization was about. I did go to a Masonic temple, and he did show me around this, but it wasn't when they were doing any kind of rituals. It looks like a courtroom with these big wooden fancy chairs, and each Freemason has a position. The more you're in them, the more you can move up, and this guy said he was only a few notches from being Grand Master, which is Grand Master of that specific temple. But it's interesting because they have these chairs, they have checkerboard floors, they have podiums, they got weird triangles of different colors, red triangles, yellow triangles, which I didn't really think much. I just was like, okay, strange. Then I found his Masonic book. It's a little blue book, and I read it because I couldn't help it. I wanted to know, like, what are these guys about? And it talked about God, and it talked about lambskin this and that. It was kind of confusing, to tell you the truth. I still didn't really understand what it was about. The whole last half of their book is written in symbols, like wingdings. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I found it very interesting that whatever the last half of this book was only meant for the Masons to read, and none of us can understand it. And they've been guarding this sacred knowledge for, I'd say, thousands of years, because I believe that Freemasonry, definitely, the roots of it go back a long, long, long time. Now, I am a believer in Christ and the Bible. It's interesting that I am in this time of age because there is so much going on, and the technology and the stuff that's going on around the world is really heating up, and I really think that time is running out for the next plan. So I did a lot more researching into what are Freemasons about, and how come when I pass their temples there's no windows? Why are there no windows? What are you doing? Why is your book so secretive? Why? And they say that there's this ancient knowledge that has been passed down, but it's a secret, and it's been passed down from Freemason to Freemason. Now, don't forget that the founding fathers of our government were definitely Freemasons, and they built our United States in a very satanic geometrical shapes. I learned a lot more about ancient geometry and architecture, and there's definitely power in buildings. There can be negative power. There can be positive power, like churches, the way churches are built. There's evil and good in geometry, even in power. And there's ley lines around the planet, and they specifically put things in specific ley lines for power. Come to find out way later, after I've researched a lot about Judaism, which is original Christianity, versus Zionism, which is a more liberal kind of branch, which is actually going against real Judaism. I mean, our media is so censored and so deceitful that they don't tell you they don't want you to know what's really going on. Like right now in the present, it's 2012, we got all these, and the minute that I saw these upheavals going on, these revolutions going on around the globe, especially in the Middle East, the minute this stuff started, like the first country, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm like, man, they're setting this up on purpose. All these are being done on purpose, whether the United States is the one starting this to happen. And I knew right away this isn't good. And I remember looking at this guy, go, man, there's going to be sleeper cells. And he looks at me, what the hell is a sleeper cell? And I'm like, look, all of a sudden it's going to get violent, and then the government's going to get violent back, and it's going to cause a lot more problems. And just watch. And it happened, and it didn't stop. And so all of a sudden all these dictators and world leaders that are getting overthrown. Now, you got to understand that there are 13 rich families in this world that control our world, and they're all in cahoots. It's a big club, and we're not a part of their club. And they have big plans to depopulate the planet because they cannot control all of us, especially when we all have guns. So that's another thing that they're going to try later, I believe. I've looked at a lot of people, and some of the references that I would give to you are people like Freeman TV, the Freeman Perspective. Now, this guy's father was a Freemason, and he dug into it a lot. But he studied ancient geometry and architecture, and trying to figure out a lot about who this goddess Columbia, all these statues keep going back to the same thing and the same beliefs. And because I can't tell you whether aliens are real, I've never seen one. I've had dreams about them, and they're actually friendly, and they help me, and they tell me things, and They once told me to pay attention to double dates, which I found very interesting because 2 months later, on February 22nd, which is a double date, the Christchurch was struck in New Zealand. Earthquake just happened to destroy a church. And I found it interesting because they were right. They were good guys and they warned me. I didn't see them in person. It doesn't mean that they're real. Okay, I know the difference. Walt Disney was an extreme Satanist, and if you don't believe me, because a lot of people don't, you got to look it up. You got to look at the 666s they put in everything. You got to look at the cartoons that they draw that are completely subliminal. You got to look at all the, there's a lot of the subliminals that people are aware of in, their movies and Lion King and this and that. They put them in all of them, really. And when you play a lot of their songs backwards, they say some really crazy stuff. Same with, all the new stuff, Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana say. And this started way back. There was a guy named Todd Allen, and he was one of the first Freemasons in the 1970s that turned around and formed on them. And I don't know if this guy got locked up in a loony bin or he got killed. One of the two, because that's what happens when you narc. It's penalty by death. And they'll get you and cover it up. But, take everything with a grain of salt. There's other people out there. Michael Tessarian, Bill Cooper. Oh, boy. Yeah, he knew a lot of stuff, too. They came to his porch and blasted him because he knew about 9/11. I guess the main points that I without going too far on a ledge, there's definitely musical sorcery going on. And it goes back, Alan Todd said, man, with all the records when all the rock and roll came out and people were burning records and saying it's satanic. Absolutely correct. And it doesn't matter how much you like the music. I love Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd is one of my favorite bands and always will be. But Pink Floyd, the whole music industry is run by Satanists, and Pink Floyd, above all the rest of the bands, has blatant satanic symbols in everything. There's even a shirt I bought that I got rid of later, and I'll tell you about that. And it's got to be pretty for me to get rid of it. And the rainbow represents Lucifer. The Eastern Star represents Lucifer. They worship the star Sirius, Their triangles represents the pyramid, and there's definitely something up with the pyramid, and I'm not sure what it is. I think that there's a pyramid that they want to put a capstone on in gold. They're supposed to put a gold capstone on this. It has not happened yet. But there's something up with the pyramids and the Egyptians, and I'm not quite sure if it is. I don't know if it's ET related, because the Egyptians were really advanced, and they don't tell us, they cover up history. They don't tell us the truth about anything. They don't tell us the truth in our history books about anything, really. They're going to tell you what they want you to believe, and that's sad. But there's still a lot of knowledge out there. You just got to go looking for it. So I'm not sure what's up with this pyramid, but it's definitely Luciferian related. I don't know if it's like in Stargate, if they cap it and it turns into a UFO. As silly as that sounds, the things I look at keep going back to pointing that out. Or maybe it's a Stargate for demons, or I don't know. Look at the Hydrogen Collider. Now, the first time I saw that thing, man, I just got the willies. And something says there's something definitely wrong with that machine they have, and it's not good. Whatever they're trying to do, find the God particle, try to recreate the Big Bang, slam in protons, neutrons, and weird stuff. We're not supposed to be doing that stuff, okay? I just know that. And when you look at that Hydrogen Collider and you compare it with the movie like it looks like a Stargate. It could be a time machine. It could be a Stargate. It could be a portal to another dimension. But they're not going to tell you that if that's what it really is. They're going to say, we're looking for a God particle. What the heck does that mean? And whatever it is, and they say they're getting closer to finding that, that's not a good thing. Whatever they're doing with that is bad. But look, they want to, founding fathers were Freemasons, and Freemasons are definitely satanic. Now, I am not in their club. They have a women's section, but they're not allowed to see what the men are doing, and they, like the Bohemian Grove and stuff, like they worship this god called Moloch. Now, Moloch is the owl. He's a old school, just like Baal from the Bible. These people way back when were killing their children for powers, and it would come from the demonic presence. It would give you powers the more evil you've got. I definitely believe that's true, and they're still doing it now. Walt Disney thing, you know, everyone's just like, yeah, that's just crazy. It's like, no, it's not. They got satanic stuff and horrible things in a lot of their movies. One of the last things I was looking at Disney, it said, you know, this is what Disney's teaching our children, and, you know, they're like Ariel. If you love a man, you would be willing to change your body to be with him, was Ariel. Jasmine was, if your parents disagree with your choice, run away from your parents to be with him. Oh, I liked Beauty and the Beast. Be willing to do anything for your man, even if he's abusive. That's very correct. That guy's very abusive. And on and on. And all it does is teach the boys is to be charming and handsome and rich. You know, and that's true. The guys, they have that stuff, the role models, like, they're very dumb. The men, you know, the princes are just dumb, and it's not really teaching them good things. But I found that really humorous nonetheless, because it's totally true. But yeah, all you gotta do is look at the music that's out right now and go listen, you know, hop on YouTube, play some of it backwards. Now this has been starting out. Todd Allen, he narked way back, and he said, look, this all started with Christian rock. They came out with rock and roll that was talking about Christianity, but really, when you played it backwards, it was saying satanic things. Not only that, he said that they actually channeled demons into the records as they're making them, so that their stuff, it's a spell. So everybody's got this spell. So when people way back were like, rock and roll's evil and the breaking, it was totally right, and it started in the guise of Christian rock, but it wasn't. It was a way to use musical sorcery and spells. You know, I love Pink Floyd, and I tell you, you know, when I listen to them, I do feel like I'm being spelled. And they do say satanic things backwards. And their shirts do have triangles, which represents the pyramid and Lucifer's connection with that, whatever it is. They use it a lot. Now, the shirt that was one of the most recent Pink Floyd shirts that I found, it had a lot of really beautiful colors. But it was a rainbow, which is Lucifer, and a triangle, which represents the pyramids. And the shirt was the triangle coming out of the rainbow crashing into the moon, kind of exploding the moon. As pretty as that shirt with all the colors, I didn't like the way that thing made me feel, and I got rid of it. I know that they were talking in the past about, you know, launching a rocket at the moon. It's like, what a bunch of idiots. Why the heck would you ever launch a rocket at the moon? Are you retarded? You know, it controls our tides. I mean, that's just stupid. There's a lot of conspiracy about whether or not we actually landed on the moon and whether or not that was staged. I'm not sure. But we haven't been back. And with all our new cameras and all our new technology, there's definitely a reason and a secret why we have not went back to the moon with all our fancy cameras and done it again. So either it could have been a hoax the first time, or there's bases on the moon, or so they say. You know, I've seen pictures almost like the moon's a satellite, or if there is ETs, they got bases. I don't know. I've never met an ET, so I can't tell you that that's true. I'd have to meet one face to face. Freemasons, Rosicrucians, Mormons, they summon spirits of the dead. Yes, summoning is real. I don't summon. I wouldn't recommend doing seances. I wouldn't do Ouija boards, because you don't know what you're opening yourself up to, and there's a positive side as well as a negative side. There's angels as well as demons, and you just don't really want to mess with that. But they do, and they conjure, and they do, I believe that they do satanic rituals in there for power, and that's why there's no windows, and that's why it's so secretive. And if you tell anyone what they're doing, you're dead meat. Now, if you're a Freemason and you get in prison, it's like a buddy-buddy system. You know, there's a lot of Freemasonry in power, and they protect each other. So you can get away with a lot of crap being a Freemason and get out scotch-free, unless you begin to tell people what these secrets are. And a lot of people say there's a 33rd degree Mason is the highest rank. That's a lie. There's actually hundreds of levels of Freemasonry. You have to come knocking to the temple and ask permission. You don't get an invitation. You have to come with your own will, and then you have to make a bunch of oaths and promises that you will never tell about the knowledge that you are learning. And I think a lot of it is sacred geometry. I think a lot of it is satanic things. People just are so skeptical, and they're so plugged in, and you know, you talk about chemtrails, which are absolutely real and absolutely random. Most people are just like, it's just the altitude, and they could care less, you know, they're involved in their cell phone world and their internet world and their TV world. And it's like, no, really, they didn't spray us for 3 days and then all of a sudden there's like hundreds of spray and then it sinks down on us. I mean, I can see it. But a lot of people, so they don't see that and they don't ask questions and they don't look at 9/11. Now, I had, just like most of the people in the world, I never thought twice about 9/11. And one day I had this feeling and it kept telling me to go on the internet and watch footage of the buildings. So I get on there and right away, when I watched the buildings fall, I had realized that that's absolutely against the laws of physics. And there's no way a building of that size would fall in 6 seconds at free fall speed unless it was blown up starting from underneath, and a lot of witnesses said there was a lot of explosions. So right there is when I woke up to 9/11 and said, hey, wait a minute. There was bombs in there, and we purposely pulled, there's even one of the guys, footage of him, the mayor or whatever, saying, yeah, they told us to pull the building, so we pulled them. Yeah, they pulled all of them, even building 7 fell. You know, even that fell in front of people, and people still didn't wake up or ask any questions. So I realized, I was like, man, that was rigged. And not only that, there was a plane that landed in a field that there was no pieces left, which to me looks like they just blasted a hole with a missile in the ground and said their plane crashed right there. Why isn't there footage of the plane that hit the Pentagon? There wasn't a plane, it was a missile. What else? You know, it goes on and on and on. The more you look, the more you're going to realize. And it's really horrifying to realize that our own country did this to our own people. And the reason why they did it was called a false flag. So they could blame it on some other dude in a cave, and at the same time make the Patriot Act. Be able to spy on all your emails, your internet use, your phone calls, the books. If you check out certain books from the library about things they don't want you to know about, you are red flagged. Bingo. Your name goes in a list, a red book, of these people are catching drift on what we're doing and we don't like it, so they are posing a threat against the New World Order. And that's funny, just recently when I was working, some jackass I worked with, he was at me and I'm hanging, well, the customer I'm with is a believer too in Jesus like I am. So we have interesting conversations, and he really, I got along more with that customer than any of my coworkers. We were just on the same page. So I could talk to him about stuff. And I'm sitting there and this jackass looks over at the other game and he says, oh no, the world's gonna end and you don't see me reading my Bible looking for answers. And that was a total pop shot on me because I would read the Bible at work. I brought the Bible to work, and to avoid conversations with some of my coworkers, I'd read it just to keep them out of my way. So I was kind of like, hey. And I said, hey man, it's not the end of the world, and it's the beginning of the New World Order. And then my customer goes, yeah man, you should listen to her. It's the New World Order. She's right. It says on the back of our dollar bill, New World Order. And it's probably in Latin, I'd imagine. So they've been working on this plan about how to have this one world government. It's called world domination. The leaders of the world that have all the money and power want to kill a bunch of us off because it's way easier to control. They want to take, all our guns away and their food away so that they control everything, whether it's by mark of the beast, microchip, whatever. Don't know yet. Georgia Guidestones say to keep the population down, and that's what their plan is. They can't control all of us, especially when we got guns. So they're going to need another big thing to happen, and I'm not exactly sure yet about what that is. That's what I've been spending the last 2 years of my life trying to figure out. And when these revolutions started, automatically I'm like, here we go, guys. This is the beginning of not the end of the world, but the beginning of their plan, because you overthrow the Middle East, and everybody hates the U.S. and everybody hates Israel. And Israel isn't even supposed to have their own state. The real Jews are like, look, we are not supposed to have our own state, let alone be whacking all these Palestinians and this and this and that. The bad guys made sure that Israel got their state and that it all got turned around, and they're not supposed to. So the real Jews are like, man, we're not supposed to have this state yet. It says in the Bible that we are kind of exiled for a while, so even Israel becoming a state was against the Bible. It wasn't supposed to be like that. And the good guys are like, Zionism is bad news, and people don't know the difference between Zionism and this and that. You know, the symbol, the Star of David is a satanic symbol. All of this stuff, this Satanism and the God stuff, it started long back ago. You know, ancient Judaism, there's dark magic and light magic. There's people that practice this dark magic. If you don't believe me, just listen to a Miley Cyrus song backwards. Just go on and watch somebody interpret to you what Lady Gaga's videos are representing in the symbolism. There's Masonic and demonic symbolism in everything in the pop music. It's very evil. The good guys die. Michael Jackson, Bob Marley, they really hate black men. That's the truth. Especially ones that are very popular. And especially the ones that talk about feeding the world and let's love each other and let's fight the oppressors. They hate that. That's why Bob Marley and Michael Jackson are dead. End of story. They shouldn't have died early, and they're dead. Just because they tell you on the news these celebrities die this way doesn't mean it's true. And the list just keeps going on. We've had a lot of recent deaths. Amy Winehouse, Heath Ledger, Brittany Murphy. Then Brittany Murphy's husband died in the same way in the shower of cardiac arrest at 33. Bullshit. Whitney Houston was the biggest lately, and they partied their little Grammy party for 24 hours. With her body floating up there, and yes, people knew she was dead. She almost died before. There's a video going up. I almost drowned again. They were trying to kill her. It was a sacrifice. That's what they are. But are they going to tell you that on the news? Heck no. And because they don't tell you on the news, people don't ask questions. They don't put stuff together. They just take everything that they hear to be true, and that's what's so wrong with our country, and that's why so many people are so asleep. Everybody's so asleep. It's like the movie They Live is absolutely true. And I'm like the one with going, I can see these people. I can see these messages. I can see what they're doing. And I'm their enemy. And it's hard to wake people up. You know, I try to start with chemtrails, and people just do not want to believe it. They just absolutely do not believe that the government would ever have an organization that would spray chemicals on us. And they are. They absolutely are, because it doesn't happen every day. I live by an airport, man. And the same flights are leaving this airport and coming every single day. But every 2-3 days, there's a massive spray fest of planes that don't make any sound, so that people don't look up and go, wow, that's a lot of planes. Hundreds of planes flew by leaving these trails, and all these trails are sinking on us. I don't even know what these guys are doing. And after 9/11, we haven't had any big major attack. And they do these scare tactic things so that they can take our rights away, because then we're so terrified. Oh, we need the government, and then they do all this shady stuff that we don't vote on. They take a bunch of rights away, and now they spy on everything that we do, and you don't have a right. They could arrest you for no reason without an attorney, with no reason, and lock you up. And you have no rights. They can call you an enemy combatant, and you have no rights. You're in jail, and you don't get a right to a trial or anything. So our rights have extremely been stripped, and now they're working on guns. But they're going to need another big catastrophe to happen, whether it's a huge attack that scares the crap out of everybody. And I believe that if they do that, it's going to be at the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, while the whole world is watching. If they're going to do an attack for fear, it's going to be there. That's where all the arrows are pointing to. And I listen to a lot of people, and I take it all with a grain of salt. But you know what? The arrows keep pointing towards the Olympics being the deal. And on top of it, if you've studied anything about the Illuminati, the stadium for the Summer Olympics had triangles all around it. And it's pretty much a blatant Freemason symbols around that stadium is bad news, people. But you're not awake. A lot of people just don't even realize that. It's like, no, they put triangles around that for a reason, and they got big plans if it's going to be an attack, because you scare the crap out of everybody. Again, you take even more of their rights. That's in London, where the royal family is, and I believe that absolutely the royal family is evil. I'm sorry, but it's true. They are very, very rich. They have a lot of control. They have a lot of control over the U.S. Even though the Queen's still alive, and even though Prince Charles is still alive at the moment, if anyone's going to lead the New World Order or be the Antichrist or take power of the world after catastrophe, whether there's a huge attack at the Olympics, whether they have a heart machine that makes stuff. Hurricane Katrina that earthquake at the Christchurch was man-made. It was on a double date. The tsunami on 3/11/11, that's another double date, was planned. We have a machine that does that. Hurricane Katrina, we had a machine that did that. It's not natural. It's called H.A.R.P. If go back and watch a movie from the 80s called Flash Gordon, and in the very beginning there's Ming the Merciless pushing typhoon, hurricane, hot hail. He's got a weather machine. This is 1985, I think. And he's like, you know, he's the ruler. It's like, I just like to play with things a while. Well, you know what? There's really a machine. And, you know, look up Cheyenne Mountain. And that stuff's man-made. And it's really hard to explain that to people. They don't believe you, just like they don't believe 9/11 was done by our own government. Just like they don't believe that there's chemtrails. And it's like, I can see them, man. But it's really hard. It's really hard. People don't want to wake up. They don't want to know. They don't want to know that every time the ABC symbol goes across their TV, it says sex. Every time. They don't want to know that when you go to log into Facebook, which is extremely evil, by the way, you don't want to tell people your information. You don't want to have your facial recognition in their database. It's an easy tracking tool, and it's not good to tell everyone your personal information. That's why I usually use an alias. I know people that are on this thing all day playing Farmville. It's like, dude, you know, turn off, you know, get off the Facebook. Stop playing Farmville, and you know. Turn it off and go do something, you know, spend some time to do something, you know, like, anyway, so I can see, you know, I'm like, I ain't got no time, I don't even like it as it is, I ain't got no time to play no stupid games on here, but I tell you, Facebook on my phone, and then I said, you know what, I refuse to be addicted to Facebook, like other people. I refuse to be addicted to my cell phone. Go out to dinner, and now that, you know, I see two people, and neither one of them are talking to each other, they're just playing with their phone. And that's bad. That's it's exactly what the bad guys want. They want us to be distracted and separated. They don't want us to be paying attention. You know, they want us playing video games and watching TV, and they don't want us to. They want us to be separate. They don't want us to get together, like George Carlin says, put our heads together and figure out what the hell's really going on. Log into Facebook. There's 13 characters, 13 little guys, which represents the 13 richest family in the world that definitely have some plans for all of us, and it's picking up speed. When you log in there, all those little guys, it shapes the word sex. So every time that your teenagers are jumping on there, it's being imprinted over and over in their mind. Sex, sex, sex. When you watch TV, you know, like I said, the ABC symbol, all the Harry Potter stuff, the posters, you know, sex, sex. The bad guys are they run the movie industry. They run the media. They run the music, all of it, the media, everything. And the word media comes from the word Medes, which Medes were a group in the Bible. Bad guys, not good guys, not. That's where that word comes from, media, the Medes. It's all filtered and censored. I mean, it's not good. I mean, look at how TV was introduced in the 1950s. Back then we had, you know, Freeman's the one who brought this up. Yeah, we had good, wholesome family shows, you know, Leave It to Beaver, Donna Reed, Lassie. And now it's just the names. Just pay attention to the names of the show. Mad Men, The Killing, Desperate Housewives. All the names are horrible. They're all morally corrupt things. It's about bad things. It's about non-morals. Everything is so non-moral. I barely can hack TV sometimes because it's so graphic, and I've pulled myself so away from the gore, and the disturbs me when I do hear things being said. I'm like, wow, that was horrible. Or I see it's not teaching you anything good. And now you go from the 1950s when there was, you know, people were going to church and there was a strong family, and you didn't get pregnant out of wedlock, and if you did, you got married and made it right, and you kept your family together. There wasn't a high divorce rate. And I'm not homophobic, but I am a Christian. They've destroyed the Bible by, you know, giving marriage rights to gays, and I know a lot of people might shoot arrows at me for saying that, but what I'm saying is they're destroying the Bible. They've destroyed the family unit. Divorce rate is high with all the pornography out there that destroys marriages like you wouldn't believe. You don't have to cheat. You know, I've been with people with some horrible porn addictions, and we were not close companions, and I am no longer with them. It's not the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, men would rather have a 5-minute cheap fantasy than to get married and be a real man and have a real moral relationship, pretty much. And it's horrible what has happened to this world. Horrible, 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 horrible. It gets worse, and it's getting worse, and the Bible is almost completely destroyed, the worth of the Bible, and that's been done on purpose. Sad. But now we got some big problems, folks. Now we got all this. They're trying to scare us with this 2012 is the end of the world, and when the I Ching says so, and the Mayans say so, and blah, 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 blah. They're just adamant about this end of the world crap. And the reason why they do this is fear. They want your fear. If you're afraid, you're easy to control. And they could also be doing it as a guise for something that is going to happen. Like pumping something up. What is that called? When you hype. Hype. You know, this movie's coming out. Check. So they're hyping this 2012 for some reason, unknown reason. I was starting to believe that there was going to be an attack at the Olympics, and that is absolutely the plan, where they wouldn't be putting their Masonic pyramids all around the stadium, but it didn't happen. And the Winter Olympics isn't started, and it's not done, so it may happen in the Winter Olympics or towards the end. That's where the royal family is. Somebody made a really great theory that, you know, William, you know, of the whole royal family, William is the one that everybody likes the most. They don't really care much for the Queen, they don't really care much for Charles, but they have sympathy for William, and they just love the heck out of that guy. Now, it was a very interesting theory that somebody pointed out, because that's interesting. And it's now October 2012. If something ever was to happen to Kate, his wife, like if she got killed, he would gain double the sympathy. And if they were in the plans of making New World Order, I see them, if something did happen to his wife, just saying, if something does, he would have so much sympathy from the world that he would become our New World leader above his father, in the guise of a good guy or in the guise of Christ, is how Antichrist is supposed to come. I think we're running out of time. Not to scare you and goon you out, but there's definitely a reason for the 2012 goon out, and it hasn't happened yet. And, you know, maybe nothing will happen, but they're trying to get you afraid for a reason. I don't think aliens are going to come. I don't think there's going to be the end of the world. They don't have to use a bunch of theatrics like comets. A comet's going to get us, or aliens are invading us. They don't have to take it that far. They may have to do one more attack to scare everybody senseless, to take more rights away and take your guns away. They got H.A.R.P, which is the weather machine, and they might just set that thing ablaze. I mean, if they want to kill some people, they might just set that thing ablaze and rock the crap out of all of us and kill a lot of people. What I'm saying, they may use the weather machine to kill a lot of people, and everybody will be in complete panic. And they also have a thing, people think I'm crazy, you know, because I research this stuff, and I don't believe all of it, some of it, but look, man, they don't need the end of the world. They don't need an alien invasion or a fake alien invasion, which Bill Cooper has mentioned several times. And he was right about his first false flag, so he might not be wrong about them. I've looked it up. It's very possible that they can do a fake alien invasion. They have touchable holograms that I found really funny, meaning you could cloud up the sky, you know, like when you go to a laser show, cloud up the sky with clouds, and you can project, and they have. You go look at the London projection 2012, it's a rainbow they projected. You can project images and holograms onto clouds. But the touchable holograms, meaning, let's say there's this fake looking spaceship, you can go up, they have touchable holograms, you can even go up and touch it, which would fool a lot of people. And the gas they use to make that possible is barium. And guess what the planes have been spraying on us for years now? Aluminum and barium. They've been spraying the gas in the sky that they need to make a touchable hologram. Whether that's what they do with it or not, I don't know. I think when it comes to chemtrails, bottom line is there's poisoning our soil with aluminum. And the more that you poison the soil and poison the soil and poison the soil, the less you're going to be able to grow. And the best theory of them all is, look, man, that's the one that makes the most sense. You poison the soil, then no one can grow their own food, meaning you're going to have to go to the government and get your food from the government, who has seeds that are genetically altered to resist that aluminum. That's what I think the chemtrails are for. Out of all the theories, that one makes the most sense, because they want control of our guns. They want to totally depopularize us so they can have New World Order and control all of us, and they want our guns to go away so that we can't fight them, so we're total slaves. They can use an earthquake machine to kill a lot of us. I don't think they don't have to, the end of the world and the comets and the aliens, like, they're really pressing on this alien stuff but they don't need to go that far. That's what I'm saying is, no, I don't think that's the end of the world, guys. I think that the New World Order is really, the stage is set. The stage is set. The MTV and Music Awards, if you go watch the analyzation, a lot of it is symbolism for dark magic and the coming of the Antichrist, man. Whether you believe in God or not, there definitely is a New World Order, and it says so on the back of our dollar bill. And they've been planning this for a very long time, but they're going to have to get rid of us. So this is what I tell people. I don't think there's an alien invasion. I don't think it's going to be comets. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. I don't think there's going to be no flip and pole shift. There's two things they can do to get rid of us. That's the best things, in my opinion, the best theory out there is, number one, use H.A.R.P to tsunami and earthquake the crap out of us. That would kill a lot of us, but they don't have to do that. They don't have to. It would definitely help their plan, but they don't have to. This is what I keep trying to tell all the skeptics. I'm not a loony. The number one thing, and I've been dreaming about this for the past 3 years. 3 years. Today is October 1st, 2012. 3 years. There's a thing that's called an EMF bomb. It's been in, I've read it in all kinds of articles. It's been printed in the press and the media. An EMF bomb would cause all the electricity to go out. And I tell you what, the minute the electricity goes out, let's say it's not out for a day, let's say it's out for a year. When the electricity goes out in two days, the stores have no food. So, if you have no electricity and you have no food, everybody kills each other. Everybody kills each other. People start starving and they're ready. They will kill you for food. When it comes down to no food, it's do or die. And it's going to get very ugly. And all they have to do is turn off the electricity. And we are all going to kill each other. And you might, I've been dreaming about this for 3 years. So I've been dreaming about this, and I've had some scary ones, especially by the coast. I've had a lot of bad dreams about the ocean. Something's wrong is with the ocean. And, people I worked with heard me say that, and you know what, bam, all of a sudden we got this tsunami. And my coworkers came up to me like, how in the hell did you know that? How in the hell did you know that? You've been telling us you've been having dreams about something horribly wrong with the ocean. And look, man, this big tsunami just wiped out Japan, man. I said, guys, it's not over. That's the first thing I said. I don't feel that was all of it yet. I don't feel it's over yet with the ocean. And that was pretty massive, so you'd think, yeah, if I had a hunch about something weird happening in the ocean, that was pretty, it wiped out you, that was horrible. But I still feel it's not done, and when I had a dream about having no power and no food in the coastal area after something bad happened, I almost don't want to tell you what happened in that dream. It was not good. There's a lot of killing going on. So I don't know, doesn't mean I'm right. But anyway, all the bad guys got to do is take away our power. And I tell you what, just recently they came out with a show called Revolution, and it's about something kills all the power and everything turns into the Wild West, and that's what I have dreams about. A militia taking over, which would be New World Order, I imagine. And with their power, they can do whatever they want. None of the people on the show are allowed to have guns. If you have a gun, you're penalized by death. Because after, they don't need a big disaster. They don't need an alien invasion. All they need to do is turn out the power, like this show. And I'm like, see, I told you guys. See, they made a show of exactly what I'm trying to tell people. Stop believing all the doomsday. Stop believing all the alien bullshit. Stop believing this and stop believing that. If they want to kill us, you turn out the electricity and we are going to kill each other for food. And you might want to get the hell out of the city as fast as you possibly can. So I'm on the prepper side here. I'm like, no, but look, I don't think there's wrong with having food supplies and emergency supplies and medical supplies. And I think you ought to put it up in the country somewhere and hide it really well. Gun supplies, hide it out in the country really well. Because when shit hits the fan in the city, the minute the lights go out, man, there's going to be riots. There's not going to be, everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket. And that's all they have to do. They don't have to spend all this money. They don't have to use an earthquake machine. They don't have to do a false alien invasion and touchable horror. They don't have to go that far. If the minute you turn out the electricity, everyone's going to go crazy. And so many people are addicted to their freaking cell phones and the TV. I know people that just cannot stop watching that TV. They're absolutely hypnotized. Same with Facebook. There's people just hypnotized. Your cell phone's hypnotized. They got you hypnotized. And all the evil things and subliminals, whether it's audio subliminals, backmasking, whether it's visual, throwing in a subliminal frame that you don't even see it, it's damaging your brain. And I tell you what, the scariest thing I ever saw on TV after I was unplugged, and there's this, show program, Adult Swim. All of a sudden this black screen comes on and all these white letters go racing across the screen so fast, and then it was over, and then the next show come on, and I went, whoa, wait a minute. You guys got that smart TV. Can you rewind that and slow it down? They said, okay. I said, I need to know what that said. So they rewind it and they slow it down, and it said magic, which is a reference to black magic, which is real, and demonic magic is real. What else did it say? 2 moms and no dad. And that is really strange to me because, well, number one, the man in the family is the pillar. You get the husband out, whether strip clubs, pornography, adultery is rampant right now. I mean, it's all, the TV is just programming our guys to, men to be womanizers. 2.5 men, the more you sleep with, the cooler you are, and if you're a good guy with morals like the brother, you're a geek. See, that stuff works on people's subconscious, and it does change you, and all the guys want this trashy slut, and it's like, they don't want the good woman to marry and to have, they don't want that, and the TV is completely turned men against women. And so there's not those strong pillar families and that believe in God or anything like that. Not much. It's so easy to take the man out of the equation. I've also noticed that the 5th friend my age, her father dies of cancer. I found it to be not a coincidence. That's what I'm trying to tell you, people. This shit is not a coincidence. Excuse my language. You got to pay attention to the coincidences, because they're not coincidences. That's like, how in the world this wouldn't have happened in the 50s. I wouldn't have known all these people that's fathers died of cancer. And I go, what is this, Attack of the Dads? Exactly. Whether it's the poison air we're breathing, or the fluoride in our water, or the cell phones we're using that are definitely radioactive. So anyway, there's the 2 moms. It says 2 moms and no dad. That's a reoccurring theme. Whether it's, the dad's not with the mother, they're not married, they're not a family unit. Bears, womanizing, dying of cancer suspiciously. 5 of my best friends, all my age, all their dads died way too early, all from cancer, different kinds of cancers. Well, what about the moms? How come all the moms are still alive? Well, that message on Adult Swim said 2 moms, no dad. You get rid of the dad, dude, and then the women need the government. Need the government to help them. The next thing that it said, stop producing telomeres. So I wrote down the word telomeres because I didn't understand what that meant. And then it said, stop producing the gene S516 or something like that. So I wrote that down too. I wanted to know why they're telling us that stuff. So I looked it up, and telomeres and the gene, I think it's S516, are both things that help your body fight illness and help your body fight obesity, and it helps your body fight cancer. It's hard to try to tell people that the TV is not only hypnotizing and destroying your morals, it's actually harming you physically. It's harming your brain. It's harming your subconscious. There's my proof, you guys. If the TV all of a sudden says all this stuff to you really fast, so fast none of us could have read it. There was like 6, 7 of us watching it when it went by, and not one of us could understand what it said at full speed, and that's why I wanted to know what that meant. But when the TV is telling your brain in a very fast subliminal way to stop producing genes that fight obesity and stop producing genes that heal your body and that fight cancer, we got a problem, folks. I would recommend getting a little bit more farther away from the TV, spending some more time with people, spending time outside. Go to nature. That's where I feel the best, is when I'm with nature, when I'm with God. Natural things, not man-made things. The TV is, look at what's happened to our society since the 1950s. It's all upside down. Everything, all the morals from the 1950s have completely been thrown upside down and destroyed by the television. It affects you. It affects you. And it harms you, especially when it's telling your brain and your body to stop producing things that are good for you. Then there's my proof that bad guys do run this world, and they're definitely Satanists, or they wouldn't be putting, if they want you to think God's not real, they want you to be an atheist, they want you to believe in evolution. I think that the reason why they're so hardcore about the alien, pressing this alien crap, is because they want you to think that we were designed, we were mixed, our DNA was mixed. They want you to think that aliens created us and that there is no God. But if there is no God, and this is my argument, if there is no God, then why are they so adamant about satanic symbolism? Why are they so drowning every music, all the new music, Beyonce, all that stuff? And this started way back. If you listen to Pink Floyd, if you listen to Stairway to Heaven, it's saying, Satan gives me power. Worship Satan. He will give you the mark 666. They've been doing this with our music for a long time, and they're still doing it, and it's really bad now. It's in everything. God isn't real, then why are you so heavy about Satan? And if Satan's real, then you guys gotta watch out, because if Satan's real, then Jesus is real, and in the end, the good always wins. And they follow the bad guys that rule in this world, and getting ready for New World Order, and setting the stage for Antichrist. They're extremely smart. This is how I'll tell you what Freemasons are. They are real magicians that practice real magic. It's black magic. It's Satanism. They don't have any good plans for us folks. In fact, they want us dead, and they want to take our guns, and they want to control us. Whether they put microchips in us or not later, I don't know yet. It hasn't happened yet, but it definitely exists. I've heard some of these Rockefellers and stuff talk about, yeah, we want to world domination, and we want to implant people with the chip, and that's how you get your food, and if you act up or turn against us, bam, your chip's off. You starve. But that hasn't happened yet. There's a lot of things that have to happen first. I believe that there's going to be another attack, or they could go crazy with an earthquake machine, or just EMF bomb us and turn out all our stuff. People are so addicted to TV, and it's really sad to me. The movie They Live is just, this exactly what's happening, and this was my quote, okay? I feel like this guy in the movie. Every time that I try to put the They Live sunglasses on somebody else so that they can see, I get in a 30-minute fist fight. It's a very good metaphor. There's a 30-minute fist fight. He's trying to get this guy, just put on the damn glasses, just see what I'm seeing, man. And they fight. They're like best friends. They fight for like 30 minutes. It's actually a really, really great fight scene. But that's how I feel like in real life. I even mention chemtrails, and people are like, you're crazy. You mention 9/11, you're crazy. And easily discredited. They believe everything they're heard about. This is how our celebrities are dying, and it's not satanic bullshit. People just eat up anything. I mean, they don't ask any questions. They don't put two and two together. They don't invest. Every time I try to wake somebody up, it's like I get in a 30-minute fist fight. I just can't make them understand. I can't make them put on the glasses. So it's difficult. But really, there's the bad guys are setting the stage, and they use the Bible as a blueprint. They want to follow it key to how it says things are going to end up. The Antichrist is supposed to mimic God, and everyone's supposed to fall for him being the Christ, because he can do miracles, because Satan can do miracles. Satan can do signs and wonders. Satan is he's the master of music. He's almost like the god of music in a way. I try to tell people this, and please listen. Eminem is a very, 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 very talented man. I'm saying this as a musician myself. You know when people are really talented, and you know when they're not. It's like a lot of this music is made for people, and Lady Gaga says, I don't have any control over my lyrics, whether it's a demonic influence that takes over, because there is a theory that, somebody said, hey man, for this, Stairway to Heaven song, when you play this one specific part backwards, not only is that one phrase completely satanic, it's 3 phrases in a row talking about Satan, and it's because demons are channeled into them to make them write these things that, as a human being who's an artist, has no idea how to do their wording just right, to where if you played it backwards it would say a bunch of that stuff. And that's kind of true. So, some artists, they talk about the old story about selling your soul to the devil to be good at music, and that's true. Bob Dylan, Katy Perry, there's a lot that have said, Snoop Dogg, I sold my soul to be famous. He helps me write the songs, and unfortunately, when you play them backwards, it says a lot of demonic stuff. It's very interesting whether they channel demons into the printing process, or whether, you know, the demon is coming through the person, or whether the soul, it goes on and on. I still enjoy Pink Floyd, but yes, they are one of the most extremely satanic influenced, because they were told so. There's an album cover of a guy in a business suit shaking a guy on fire who's in flames, and that is representative of kind of selling your soul to a demon for fame. And the song "Have a Cigar," the music industry, oh, we just think we're great, we're going to make a lot of money. What's your name again? Who's Pink? You know, and it's true. You are ruled, and people like Britney Spears, who went completely rebelled. She went and shaved her head because she wanted to destroy the fan base. She was going against what her masters wanted to make. You know, she was the money machine, and because she did that, she rebelled. They just destroyed her in the press. Now, they never destroyed Madonna. Madonna, it was purposeful that she got the name Madonna as the Lady Madonna, and that she was going to be a slut and press all the buttons and boundaries. She never got bad press. She never got bad press. Lady Gaga hasn't gotten any bad press like Britney Spears did, because they're doing everything that their satanic masters want them to do, and they are not fighting it. And so this is what I want to tell you when it comes to music, and I'll leave it at this. Eminem is so popular. Now, he is very, very talented. Very talented. I will give him that credit. But everything he sings about is completely evil. He talks about, you know, binding up and murdering his child's mother and throwing her in a trunk in a lake and all kinds of horrible things. None of it is good. It is all evil, evil, evil. And hatred, 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 anger, anger. His job is to spread hatred and anger. And there's all these kids, man. I just can't believe it. As talented as Eminem is, he's singing about all the wrong things. And there's all these kids, you know, driving by. You know, I hear them with their hate blaring, the hate of Eminem, the hateful message of anger and hate and revenge and killing. He talks about killing people a lot, man. It's doing bad things to the youth, and it's the same with Lady Gaga, and it's being done on purpose. This is what I want to say about Eminem, and then I'm just going to probably end my conversation. If Eminem was using his power of music, and he definitely is reaching a lot of people, but he's doing it in a very hateful way. Music has power. It can be used for good as equally as used for bad. And my examples are Michael Jackson and Bob Marley, who used their music for God's purpose, for good, for awareness, for peace, for love, for unity, for, you know, we're all the same. And then there's artists like Eminem that we're all different, and you know, we should hate each other. So this is my conclusion, that I truly believe that if Eminem was using his music for good, like Bob Marley did, and like Michael Jackson did, he'd be dead. Thanks for listening.